Well, it is a not so pretty day. It's rainy, it's dreary, it's cold, it's windy, but we're still gonna get some work done today. We've got some more framing to do. Got a few treads to put on. Let's go see what we got going on today. Morning. How are you?
Morning.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but now that we're in daylight and we're not just running off of flickering lights, I really like the way that turned out. Very happy with it. Eric's putting on the last few joist hangers. We've got a few things to try to accomplish today. We're trying to get to the point to where when I have a third person here, we can frame this wall up. So we've got a false wall to frame here just to get to this level. Yes, that's run past. I'd trim that off later, just use some scraps. We got some more treads to put down. We got some new treads to cut for here, and all the treads to cut for the stringers we installed. Put back on the last couple of stringers we have up there, and then maybe, if we're lucky, and the rain holds off, we'll get our wall framed up that goes here and attached so that we can string line from here to there so we can connect these two roofs together. That's the hope for today. Whether we make it there or not with the weather, it is what it is. We're gonna get as much done as we can. Let's see how this goes. Okay, well, the rain held us off a little bit. It came a pretty good daggone rain there, but I've got an interesting area here that I've got to custom make, I guess is the easiest way to put it. From that step to this line is, let's just call it 85 inches, enough headroom. Same thing for here once you make it to the next step, right? As you step down, you gain the headspace that you need. But I need to build I call it a knee wall or a false wall that just closes off this landing or platform, whatever you want to call it. So when you come up here, you run into a wall that's the same height as those walls. So I can either, and I can't go beyond this face because this is where my 2 layers of drywall is going to come down. So I got to stay behind this face, and I got to stay at that line down through this 2x4. That's kind of the straight line there. So I can either put a 2x6 here and screw it to that, and then put a 2x4 there. I just don't know if I like that, but I cut a couple of boards here. Let's put it together. Let's see what we think. You guys can watch the head scratching go down. So I'm gonna do it that way that we just talked about. I'm gonna overlap that 2x6 just a little, and that's still beyond the point of that step, so I'm not as concerned about the headspace there because I'll have it. But in order to give myself a header for those to sit on, again, not structural whatsoever, but to do it to where it can support the weight of the wall, I'll then put a 1/2 inch piece of plywood on this. I'll put this board in there like that. That'd be screwed to the true header that's supported everywhere, and then this would create that flat spot for me to frame off of, but I don't know how I'd finish that. It would just be point to point to point, and I honestly don't like that look. So then I say, well, what if we turn this like that, line it up, now I've got a nice piece to finish. Then I can take this 2x4, lay it on top. I can make that attach to each other, and then that would straight line down to this point. So drywall could come down, come over, come down, and then all this will be finished differently. So I'm thinking I like that. And that'll make, yeah, I'm thinking I like that. I think that's what we're gonna go with. We're gonna put that in place. I need to look at the top side to see how that comes into play. But as long as it doesn't get above my tread, my drywall would sneak down in behind it. So let's go take a look at this top side. Pretty confident that's what we're gonna go with. Oh yeah, That's going to allow me to sneak that drywall right down in there. The tread has to be an inch off of the framed wall anyway. So that's going to come out awesome. I think that's what we're going to go with, Eric.
Sounds good.
We're going to tack that in place. It'll all be tied together. I can nail through the 2x6 into the header. I can nail the 2x6 into the 2x4s, both this face and that face. And then to ensure, there's that word again, that this thing is supported, I then have to, all I need to do is figure out this angle and put a jack stud in here, which would also support it. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's get her tacked in place. All right, so we got the 2x6 sitting in there at an angle. Eric is gonna make sure that that line down there, that transition point, is held exactly on spot. You ready?
Ready.
Ready? Not missing, am I?
No, my big bitch, yeah. Yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
Now we can sneak a screw on that bottom side into this ICF strapping or stud as well. So if we take this board, line it up, nail it through here, which actually, before I do that, Eric, let me nail this off one time here. Okay, that's got that held. Now we bring this board over top. If you want to take that, you'll hold it on this face. This one here is going to be good because we're hitting in the corner. Now all we got to do is get that screwed down so that it's held in place. Frame all this up and throw us a double top plate on it, and we'll be off to the races with closing that off. Let's frame this up together. We've got a short top plate and a long top plate. We're trying to tie this wall into this wall to make it actually stay put. It's really wiggly right now, back and forth. We're going to correct that. So we're going to nail this second plate. Oops. Come on, nail gun. Don't be mean to me today, nail gun. For some reason, I have oiled this thing up, and it doesn't always work properly, which is part of life, I guess. That is a DeWalt nail starter. Sometimes. It's a little aggravating. All right. Put our first stud on the wall so that this comes right down on top of it. And that will also allow us to toe nail this wall into this ICF stud and yet still hide that with drywall, and it'll support everything very well. We can plumb that here in a minute. You can see how I made the double top plate to transition properly. Ooh, don't use your hand, use a hammer. Now let's plumb that. Getting close. Oop, a little too far. Right there. Tack that stud in place. Make sure it's seated. Take our screw gun. Get us a screw tone out in here. That shouldn't go anywhere. Now let's get the rest of this framed up and we're gonna go take some lunch. All right, let's get our studs in here. Where'd my hammer go? Walt nail starter. Come on, buddy. Play nice today. Is the air compressor plugged in? Nope. Oh, that would help. As I'm sure you guys can hear, compressor's on. Well, that makes a world of difference. Very nice. Okay. Now the fun part.
Yep, you just fucked
Would you quit saying that word? Beep. Beep. I got a nail into the other top plate. I got a nail into the other top plate when I toenailed that, so I need to cut that off real quick. Now, with this floppy wall, Eric's just gonna shove it over to me, and we're gonna nail her off. All right. Oh yeah. That made her really good and solid. Tack this one to the other one. Now we're good. We got her framed up, ready to go. Let's put some treads on together so these sets are usable. Eric's cutting us some 2x6s. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to my people. Eric is cutting us some 2x6s that'll mount underneath here because our treads are going to run this way, and that end of the board, I don't want to toenail it into this 2x10 I'm standing on. I would prefer to have a board for it to sit on. So we'll screw it to the underneath side of the 2x10. And then the end of that board, that 2x12 tread, will have a really good spot so it doesn't flex right there against the base of the stick. Now, we're going to put two layers of drywall on every. We're 1 inch off this wall. 1 inch off this wall. Looks like we're airtight there. So if I go 1 inch, that creates an 1.1 overhang, 1.1 over here. Now we can screw this one down, make sure we're bumped tight. That's our starting point. Then we'll work our treads backside there. We're gonna make sure and put our screws behind the face of the rise, so when we cap this face, our screws are hidden. Two more of those to put in and we'll have our platforms for those to sit on. We'll be able to put the rest of our treads on. Last tread on the landing. It had to be notched to go around the corner of the wall there. And that big gap is there again. I don't know if you guys heard me saying that whenever Eric was cutting. I'm gonna put 2 layers of drywall around this entire thing, which will be greatly beneficial. Big on floor joist at. A little interesting. There's all the treads on the platform. Start throwing some treads down on the stairway to heaven. This is where we have to get the same overhang on both sides. If I remember correctly, it was just shy of an inch. 15/16. Just like that. Put us a couple screws in it. Make our way to the top. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go.
1, 2, 3, come on.
Last 2 treads. I don't know about you guys. We'll give them a test run here in a minute, but I am very pleased with how these steps turned out. After all the failures, now the success feels pretty good. Personally. That ended the way it was supposed to there. Woo, I'm liking it.
Yeah, 100 times easier to stick this last thread up.
Haha. Spaced it right the first time. Bam! All treads. Let's take a test run. We'll start at the bottom. You guys have already done a test run with me down there. And for those of you who are saying, man, that's a whole lot of addition with no good living quarter square footage because of the stairwells. Yes, there's a lot of steps here, but you don't have to go through a bedroom anymore to get to the next bedroom. This bonus room is the only room you will have to go through because we're going to cut a hole in the castle right there to access the second bedroom. So this will be a bonus room. Come up those steps, you'll have a small little closet. Yep, that's going to be framed in a little bit smaller. And for those of you who are saying it's not much square footage, we have 13 feet from the castle wall to this wall, and we are 18 feet wide. I don't know many bedrooms in this world other than masters that are larger than that. I do like your all's opinion, and I believe that proves there's enough square footage here. We've got good headspace here, and now we're going to take a test run. Come up the steps, hit the first landing or platform, whatever you want to call it, turn left, then you have a partial turn to the left, hit the next landing, and then you finish the steps, Stairway to Heaven. I don't know about you guys, but I like that. So let's go to the top and turn around and go back down. See what we think. I'll tell you, those are some pretty comfortable steps. Eric's got a few nails to put in these last joist hangers. Otherwise, we'd have that last tread on there, but now let's go down. I like it a lot. That came out nice, Eric.
Nice.
Tied in really well together down here. We'll have to do something interesting at the top of that when we go to finish it, because we've got two opposing, which that's 90, but these ceilings in here, they're gonna be finished a certain way, but I'm happy with those steps. Now we've got to figure out, once we get that last tread on, we know for a fact the next step is framing up the wall that goes all the way to the top and comes all the way out here. So once we get that last tread on, we'll probably confirm what we got to do there. It'll come across, stop here, come up vertically, hit a header, and come all the way over to there. So everything you see here, this is essentially a knee wall. You can see out the window, downstairs, can see downstairs. When you come to this platform as well, you can see downstairs. So all this will be open and have a cathedral style ceiling from that rafter that runs up to 4 feet above this floor. This will be closed off, that'll be closed off, but all the rest of this will be open. I'm thinking that's going to tie in really nicely and look really cool. So we're going to scratch our head for a minute, get the last tread on, and confirm what it is we need to do next. I believe it's going to be framing out this 6 foot tall wall to be prepared for the connection. Let's see what we think.